Okay, we should be live now. We'll get our chat here. Let's see, corner. Okay, share my screen here. How's everyone doing today? Okay, there we go. All right, is Ben going to be joining us today? Do you know, John?
He should be. Let me try messaging him.
Okay. Maybe you can help us a bit with notes until he gets here.
Sure.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and start going through action items so we can get that out of the way. I still have to write something up on Lumio for these infrastructure costs. I'll be honest, I'm feeling a little bit conflicted about it and not quite sure how to go about it, just because I feel like I have some responsibility and having let it go so long without noticing how far over I was going. And now I'm going and saying, hey, pay me back for this cost that I wasn't noticing, you know. So,
Jeremy, I can't protect you from the embarrassment, but I do, but I think you should do it. I think it's entirely fair game. Part
fair
of
enough. Let me
what happens is that one sometimes has screw ups, and we don't want to penalize people like you for all you do.
all right, fair enough. Let me write something up and we'll at least get some discussion going about it. We have that week of discussion before a vote anyway, so we'll see how people feel about it. On a related topic, though, we do need to be looking at how we go forward. If we're staying on Azure, we need to get it switched over to some kind of an e-NABLE card. And I don't think we should assume that we should be staying on Azure. We ought to be looking at alternatives. There are certainly more cost-effective options. I just don't have the bandwidth to, you know, look at changing all that. So if somebody is interested in kind of taking the lead on infrastructure, the only one I know of right now in our sort of small group here would be Masvi. I don't know if he has interest or time, but there are definitely ways that we could avoid these kind of out-of-pocket costs, I think. So to be continued. I'm going to leave that on the list for now. Schedule a meeting for the planning the next chapter audit. I have completely failed. I tried twice. I've been unable to get anyone to converge on a day and time that works. At this point, I just kind of handed it over. I apologize, but I don't think I've never really been involved in chapter stuff anyway, so I don't know how I got into the position of trying to coordinate this, but at this point I said, you know what, somebody else give it a shot. I'm out. So I don't know who's going to handle that, but as of now, we don't have a meeting planned for the chapter audit. I don't know who's going to do it.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Hi,
Yes.
Ben.
Hi, everybody. So what happened the second time? I saw that you made the doodle poll. Just nobody responded?
A couple of people did, but there were no overlapping days or times. We couldn't find anything that anyone could agree on. So
The link that you sent out, I think I responded to it, was the same dates. So when I
responded back to you. There's an arrow you have to click to go to the next week. Most of us don't have that view. I think it's because you might have been incognito or something, because that's the only way I was able to recreate what you were seeing. But there's left and right arrows for switching between weeks, and I don't know, maybe that's why others didn't, you know, fill it out too. But I just didn't have time or, quite frankly, energy to take a third attempt at it, so I just left it.
All
So
right.
that's where it stands. Somebody's going to have to try to coordinate a meeting if we want to do a chapter audit. I don't know if Ben's still engaged or if Bob's still engaged at all. I'd like to take a stab at it.
I'll take a stab at it. Okay. Maybe John and I can try to rally the troops.
We had a day and a time that worked for everyone except for Masvi, but he had said that he had interest in being involved. So I think the problem is finding something that works across, you know, intercontinental time zones. It's hard. Rick, any responses from the friends at 50 Legs?
I actually sent out another email to a different email address that I found on their website that was a contact email, and I still have heard nothing back.
That's unfortunate.
I'm not sure what to do with them.
Well, it's certainly not for lack of effort. I mean, I think after so many attempts, if we're not getting a response at a certain point, we have to kind of just move on. I'm going to go ahead and just move this down to our action items that will take some time. And if we're able to get through to them, so be it. Otherwise, on we go.
Yeah, we had a ticket that, I was kind of pushing me a little harder on this too, because somebody wanted feet, to talk about feet. And
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to say to them, look, maybe we can help to, if it's something we can do, great. If it's something we can't do, maybe we can refer you. And now I don't know if I can refer if they don't answer. So it's
Where was this person based?
I don't know. It was very short message. It's in one of the recently in one of the recent tickets. I think it was yesterday, or the day before.
Because I mean, we have groups that are doing work on feet and legs, just not here in the US. So if it was somebody, in another region, maybe they could be connected with one of our groups that is doing that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I wasn't sure if you saw the ticket or not.
I don't think I saw that one.
I would like to have people I could refer to, maybe just say, look, maybe we could talk to this group or that group. And when this group and that group doesn't respond like 50 legs, it makes it kind of difficult.
Yeah. Well, so like I said, maybe over time you'll become familiar with the individuals and the groups within e-NABLE that are working on that. And maybe you can kind of try directing people over to them. I don't even have those details. Maybe John or Ben does, but we'll have to make sure that you get that info over time. All right, so let's move on. Let's see, Rick did give us a presentation. I'm going to mark this one off. We do have more presentations coming up because it's just too much to cover in one. So I know Ben is working on coordinating something for a focus follow-up, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the date on that is, let me pull this up really quick. July, when is it? Focus follow-up, July 22nd.
Excellent. And I'm also going to have Rick join me for an episode of 3D Universe Untethered. That's going to be specifically focusing on the MIDI side of things and enabling people to play musical instruments. Whereas I think on the focus follow-up, we'll be a little bit more focused on some of the, I think you were going to focus on the bionic stuff, right?
Yes. What was it?
Or in the Mayo? I don't remember exactly. We're going to split it up, but I don't remember exactly how.
Right. Well, maybe I'll follow up with
animals. You were going to focus on animal
that's
prosthetics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So those
the
will both
DIY
be-
animal prosthetic.
Those will both be really good presentations. One about animal prosthetics, another one about musical interfaces and the MIDI protocol. So looking forward.
There's also a ticket, Jeremy, that just opened on an animal.
I saw that.
Yeah, we had a request. Yeah.
We're going to look at that together. All right, Ben, update monthly schedule for June. That's done. And on we go. Here's our key metrics. Nothing really jumped out at me today. Fairly low level of activity, not a lot of posts with comments or anything this week. So just kind of a quiet week in the hub. Reminder that our number of chapters is questionable at this point until we do a chapter audit, but it's somewhere in that ballpark. Only found one post to call out, and that was actually from last week, but there's a new comment on it. So this was one of the cases we looked at before for a 6-year-old boy who still has 2 fingers. It looks like a thumb and a pinky, which makes for a challenging case. And the latest comment is from somebody saying that they've had a conversation with the father and they're looking at using Nick's finger. So I guess they're looking at making 3 Nick's fingers. That would be my assumption. And he's asking for help to modify the finger design. If Alexander was here, I would ask if that's something he wanted to be involved with. I don't know that there's anyone else here that would want to get involved in CAD work. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like there was someone recently who did a multiple finger solution
Was there?
that they talked to us about, but I can't retrieve the whole memory.
Does that ring a bell for you, Ben?
It doesn't.
Okay. If we can find that, let me know. The only thing I can think of is there was this other post up here about this one for Bashar. Where's the one for Bashar? Here. It's this one. Alexander is offering to make some modifications and didn't hear back. Here, this is the link I was looking for. So is this what you were thinking of, John? That how all these links,
No, I don't think
links
so.
for, this has a bunch of links for like various types of modified, non-standard type devices, thumbless and et cetera, et cetera. I don't know.
No, I don't think I've seen that page before, but let me suggest that you send that link to Ian, because it looks like it's got lots of good stuff that he should be aware of.
Oh, you know what? I think I know what John's talking about. Under device customization, let me add the link in the chat. There was a whole summary of devices that I pulled together that were all with existing fingers. I just added the link in the chat.
Oh,
If you
that's
go to
right.
the
Yeah, yeah,
first
yeah.
comment, there's sort of, if you read more, there's like a whole, this is all within a month or two. There's all these posts that were relevant cases.
Okay, yeah, and this, oh yeah, that looks promising there. Okay,
Collective
so
memory.
Ben, would you mind just sharing this post as a comment on the one that I'm linking to here from
Sure.
Seeking Cat Assistance?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll include the video link from today's meeting and I'll add the link
Perfect.
to the comment. Sure.
Okay, then on we go. Okay, upcoming meetings. Today is the new member meetup with John as the featured speaker. And here's the summary if you want to take us through that, Ben.
Sure. So we've already had the Bionic Design Group meeting, the chapter leaders meeting for today. If you scroll down just a little bit more. The new member meetup, John's going to give us a tour of the orientation materials, including the new member space and the launch pad. Also, I think sort of DJing some of the recordings from last month and answering any questions that people have about being involved with e-NABLE.
Great. And then Kyle on the 24th.
Kyle on the 24th. And he's going to just be providing basically an introduction on how his experience has been with using the Lumio platform.
Great.
And hopefully we can get some other folks that have been involved with Lumio. I know I've been involved with Lumio, so it'll be sort of an open discussion.
That is timely, as his proposal just got approved. Ended up with 19 votes, all in favor. Nobody had any objections, and so that is approved. What are our next steps with that now? Anyone know?
Well, Evan Blackman is struggling, excuse me, is struggling to send the money to the guy whose name I'm forgetting. So we're working on that. Kyle, I think, is proceeding to make arrangements. And that's it.
Excellent. Look forward to hearing how that goes. Have we heard anything about our interns from Ian?
Yes. We spoke to Ian a couple of days ago. He has more time than expected. Hear that? More time than expected, because a grant that
Ian himself
Ian
has more
does.
time? Okay.
Ian Roy was expecting to be involved in an archaeology grant. It didn't come through. So he's probably going to expand his involvement. Meanwhile, he's working with the Brandeis intern program to identify the interns. They would start in the fall. It's not clear whether it's going to be $1,000 per intern or $1,500 this time around. We had a special deal last time. He's checking to see whether that still applies.
Yeah, either one would be a steal.
Either one would be fine, but by our current rules, we need to get approval for the $1,500. We don't for the $1,000. I think Ian will come to a future meeting. There was a possibility, I thought, that he'd show to this one and give us an update on that. But
Sounds
he's
good.
very much in the game and a good guy.
That's wonderful. Okay, then we'll leave it at that. On our matching platform analysis, this is still something that we've been we've been talking about broadening the scope of our discussion with Deloitte, and we have a meeting today. Following this meeting, are you and John and Ben, are you guys able to join for that?
I am, yes.
I'll
Okay,
be there.
so I went ahead and put the link right here in the notes. Just, I figured that might be the easiest, excuse me, the easiest way for you to get it. So you can grab that and it'll be immediately following this meeting at noon Eastern. I don't know exactly who that's with. It's at least Ed. I don't know if Igor and Sarah will be there too, but hopefully we can figure out a plan. He seems interested. All right, open tickets in desk. Let's just take a look at what we got here. There's not too many, but there's some that I need input on. Okay, let's start with this sponsorship inquiry. I think this one's being handled. Yeah, this is the one from Zip Sprout. I think you reached out, Ben, right?
I did. Yep. So that's all set. I have to
Okay.
follow up. You know, the one thing that they're interested in is having their information on the partnership website on Enabling the Future. I don't think I have access to editing that specific page.
Oh,
But
I can do that.
Yeah. So I'll send you a follow up. They just want their name and the contributions. So I'll respond to them today, and yeah, if you just want to add the name of Zip Sprout into the contribution list, they'll be happy.
Sounds good. Just, yeah, give me any information I need, if there's any wording that goes with it or a logo or whatever, and then I can get it added.
Great.
Okay, so that one's good. And then let's see, this is one of those looking for oh, this is a guy who has a design. So this is a follow-up from before. A while back in May, he asked about submitting a new design to our catalog, and I told him how to do that, gave him the link. And now he's basically saying that he's, you know, sorry for the delay, that it's still a work in progress. So he's got the CAD files, the STLs, the images, and he's got the user guide ready to go, but he's still working on assembly instructions and tutorial videos. Would it be more helpful to submit what we have and you know, get it going, or wait until we have everything? And so I haven't responded yet, but I would assume we want to tell him, go ahead and submit it as soon as you can, sooner the better, right? Doesn't need to have all the videos and everything ready to go. It sounds pretty complete. If he's got CAD files and STLs and images and a user guide, I mean, I would think that's enough to get started, right? I'm not hearing any objections. I'll take that as a yes. So I will respond to him and let him know that it's fine to submit as is. Let's see, this one I think is handled. Somebody looking to actually not, yeah, this was somebody originally asking for a phone call, and Rick explained that we usually work by email and through the hub, but they responded with some pictures here. Looks like a fairly I don't know, fairly typical kind of anatomy in terms of being able to use a wrist powered device, from what I can tell. 17-year-old boy, Nicaragua. Hadn't read through this yet. No fingers to speak of, desperate to find him help, unemployable in his current condition. Well, I mean, what do you guys think? That looks like it. One of our standard devices might work, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I take it, Rick, do you want to respond to this one? It looks like you just haven't gotten to it yet, but I would just point them, you know, we have a template for, in fact, I can just show you as I do it here. You know where the templates are, and if we look, you'll find one that says need an e-NABLE hand, and that'll give you a good start. We have lots of volunteers ready to help you get a 3D printer device free of charge. Please refer to this page, and that'll take her to how to have a device made for you by a volunteer. But now that's going to direct her to Enable Web Central, and my concern is she going to get the help she needs through Enable Web Central? I mean, is that still the direction we're sending people? I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I know sometimes I'm nervous as well, because I don't want them to get frustrated and give up.
Exactly.
Like, you know, so I always try to interject into the responses that this is a good place to start, but please, you know, keep me in the loop, because I don't want them to get lost.
Good. That's a much better way to respond. So I'm going to cancel this just so you know where that template is, if you want to use that as a starting point, and modify it as you see fit before you respond.
You know,
Okay.
I wonder, at one point we had talked about sort of the concierge role of like,
That's where I was
walking
thinking too.
somebody through it. Right. So
Yeah.
if you can do it with them, and basically, you know, collect their information, put it in, and then guide them on sort of how to respond to the process. That
Well, I
might
mean,
be,
the problem would be who to do that. I don't have the bandwidth to do that. Rick hasn't yet been trained on e-NABLE Web Central. I don't know he's familiar enough with that platform to walk somebody through it. So if we wanted to do that, we'd have to have somebody that's, fully versed with the platform and
Well, what about a lightweight version of the French approach? Post a version of this into the hub,
right. That's probably the better way to go.
ask for a volunteer, and then Rick, you monitor, if you're willing, Rick, you sort of play that concierge role and monitor that case. We don't have that many cases, and yet we do have a lot of people on the hub. Maybe we can just start with given that Rick's available, that sort of a monitored approach.
I don't have a problem trying to do that. My only concern is I don't want to get into a position where I lose them, because sometimes the tickets versus, they may post something in one place and assume they're done and I don't see it, or some way to tie it back to the ticket.
Well, you can just leave the ticket open, Rick, or change it to some other status on hold or
Right.
whatever, but keep the ticket and then just go post it in the hub. And if since it's your post, you'll get notified in the hub if whenever
yeah,
somebody
okay.
responds
That makes sense.
so it's worth a try.
No, I'll give it a shot.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Missing fingertip on right hand. This one I wasn't sure about. This is one of those situations where guys saying, I want a better grip. And I'm asking myself, can we really improve on that? I mean, putting something on the end of that finger, is that really gonna help? I guess maybe. Do we have a partial nick finger? Do we have a one digit type finger like that? Anyone know? We lost John. He might know.
there was a device that Dean Rock made for an oyster fisherman that
Okay.
was, I think, a single finger, and it was wrist powered.
But I don't know if we have anything, as you can see, he's got his first two joints. So I don't know if we have anything that would just be the end section of the finger.
Mm.
But I guess maybe just a matter of, again, customizing a nick finger. It shouldn't be too hard to take out a couple of segments. And I just don't, again, I don't know who might be able to help take this forward and then respond to this individual. So how do we handle an inquiry like this? I guess maybe it's the same, now that John's back, we can get his input. John, we were talking about maybe a modified nick finger. Are you aware of anything that is only the last segment of the finger? As you can see, he's got the first two segments. John?
Sorry, I just got back. What's the question?
Are you aware of a device that is, if you look at the photo, just the end of the finger, not the first two segments?
No.
Okay. So maybe a modified nick finger.
Well, the funny thing is, I'm not sure you need a mechanism for that. If you had just an extender with a slight curve, I mean, the bend in my finger from here to here is
Doesn't do much, yeah,
slight.
that's right.
So
I think I can help with that. I have one.
Awesome.
cool.
Then I will leave this one for you.
I actually, what I did was I responded to him that I wasn't sure what are you looking, what are you really looking to do to it? Is it just for appearance or is it functionality? Functionality wise, it depends. I would assume that knuckle works. That is still there. But
Well,
that's
this
why
one I assume works. You're not going
Right.
to, like John's saying, I don't know that you need anything mechanical for this last joint. I think if you had something like he said that maybe had a little bit of a bend and some kind of a grippy surface on it, that would probably give him a better grip.
Here's what we have done in the past. I know you guys are going to laugh at this one. We've actually bought magician's fingers. They look absolutely real. And they fit right on the tip, and they're designed
Exactly.
for disappearing items. I also have like if you go on to
That is such a
eBay,
creative idea.
yeah, we've done that, and they're made out of very nice materials. Usually they're about $6, about $6 or $7, I think we paid.
That's brilliant.
And we have done this in the past. I also have STLs of fingertips, so it's just hard to print it this cheap. Is my point.
This
we
looks
had a
like a
no
brilliant
need to print
idea.
it.
Yeah.
Well, we had a meeting the other day with the guy who, Azzy, and he's going to look at this too, because he has a very similar problem with a thumb. And we're going to convert one of these to a thumb.
God, this even looking at these, this has me wondering about just putting these on the ends of the fingers of one of our devices for a better look and a grip.
We actually do that. Yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Okay, I'm gonna have
And
to.
they're so
I'm gonna have to
cheap.
get a set.
They're incredibly cheap, you know.
That's a good find. Thanks for sharing that. I never knew there was such a thing. Okay, great. So I will let you handle that one. Just leave that free. Leave that ticket for you, Rick. Certainly seems like it's in the right hands. And yeah, no pun intended. And this one,
That's what I was laughing.
this one also probably for you. Somebody looking for help with a puppy. So that's
We
what-
already responded to her. I
Yeah.
don't know if you saw the response.
Okay.
But all I did was try to explain. Well, you can see for yourself. This is
Yeah,
what.
very detailed response.
Yeah, and I said, what I'm worried about is the very first thing a vet will typically do is just take the leg,
Yep. Yep.
even
Okay.
if it's just a paw. So we're just going to keep the dialogue open. I mean,
Actually, this is interesting because there's a similar issue to what we run into with people. The surgeon it won't even see me until the puppy is 3 months old. So apparently there's similar concerns about not fitting a prosthetic until things have developed fully. I wonder if that's, I guess that's where that's coming from.
it's because of the growth plates.
Yeah, okay.
You can actually negatively affect the growth plates
There you go.
by putting a prosthetic on an animal that's that young.
Yeah, so very similar concern. Okay, well, that one's obviously in good hands. We'll let you handle that ticket as well. I think there was just one more. Where was, no, that was it. We went through all these. Okay, so that's it for open tickets. Chapter audit we talked about. Ben is going to take a stab at coordinating that.
Actually, a quick question for you, Jeremy. I looked at the emails. Matthew said he's available Monday. You said you're going on holiday Wednesday. What about Monday between 11 and 1? Let's see if we can.
Between 11 and 1, that works for Masvi?
EST. He's
Oh,
up in the middle of the
okay,
night.
so that would be 10 for me.
Between 10 and 12.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I could do that.
Okay. Rick, are you available? And John, I figured we
Oh,
can
there you
just.
go. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
I was just checking my calendar. You said Monday the 20th.
Yep, Monday the 20th between 11 and 1 EST.
I can do that.
Okay, great. Is there any special time? Should we just say 11?
John, are you good?
I am.
Okay.
All right, we figured it out. So
Yeah,
I'm going to send
the
an email and confirm it.
later time would be better for me if that's okay, Ben.
Sure. So
So-
that would be
It'll be
Let's
noon
say-
Eastern, I guess.
12 Eastern. Great,
Yeah.
let's do that.
That'd be great. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Sometimes it just takes a fresh set of eyes. All right, here's something cool for you guys, totally unrelated to e-NABLE. I have been actually doing a lot of work and research on artificial intelligence recently. I've been kind of blown away by how far it's come, both on the side of language as well as some very interesting kind of art generation stuff that they're doing now. But I realized as part of that work that there is a pretty good tool for translation using machine learning. So unlike Google Translate, you can feed this either text or documents, and it does a pretty darn good job of translation because it's using machine learning as opposed to just using rules. And so I thought this was worth looking at. We've struggled for a long time with how to get translations done, and I wonder if we're not getting to the point where the AIs might be able to do it for us. So I did one test. I just threw one of our PDFs in there, which was an old newsletter that I found because I couldn't find PDFs too easily. But I just fed it this newsletter and had it translate into Spanish, and because it was the only language I could sort of decipher. And looks, you know, Ben, you could tell better than me, but it looks to me like it did a pretty good job with it. It kept all the formatting and everything. So,
But, the classic test for this kind of a system is to take something, for example, in English, translate it to Spanish, then take the Spanish and translate it back to English. And then you see how well it did. The classic story of, make sense?
yes, it won't let me.
The
unlock
classic
it.
story is someone feeds it the New Testament phrase, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
Well, and there's we don't need to go too far into this, but I mentioned that part of this is all, I don't know if you guys have heard of GPT-3. This is like the most
Yes.
advanced text generation algorithm from OpenAI. And it occurred to me that might be useful too, because we can say things like, write a blog post about the e-NABLE volunteer community. Like we wanted a summary the other day, you know, of what is e-NABLE. There you go. Now it's writing this. This is not copying from anywhere. It's actually writing this from scratch. You can have it
And
write
this is
anything.
now available to the likes of us.
This is free. I'm using their free playground here. Yeah. You just need to log in.
Beta.openai.
OpenAI.com.
Yeah.
Once you sign in, you go to their playground and it's,
I mean, it's coming up with miscellaneous numbers.
of course,
Right.
you have to go in and tweak things, but it really is impressive. I've been pushing this, and you know, we feed it some weird things like write so and so from this perspective of such and such, and it really comes up with, like, we've had it write about, like, my son did one where it was like, you know, write about Darth Vader enters, you know, group therapy, and is, you know, it comes up with these amazing, you know, creative writing. So it's a pretty powerful tool, and I just wanted to bring it up here because we do have times where we need to, you know, create things that I think this could be a big time saver for. So play with it. And then, like I said, the translation tool, that is deepl.com. And again, there is a free version, there is a paid version, but the free version is perfectly usable. So we should do some testing with this. If we can find, you know, people, like if Masvi was here, I would ask him, I'd put something in and we'd translate it, you know, to languages that he's familiar with. I don't even know which that would be. But if we can find people to help us kind of check the work of this, I suspect that it is a good deal better. Like if we look at this, why DeepL? I mean, they claim that they are like 5 and 6 times better than Google, at least with these languages. So I'd like to test it further, but I think that could be really helpful in terms of getting our stuff translated. So I'd like to try it out. It's free. Okay, so
I do want to finish my story. So the classic
oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
test is just the story goes that they took the English phrase, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak,
Right.
translated into Russian, translated the Russian back to English, and it came back, the vodka is strong, but the meat is rotten.
Yeah. Well, and that's going to happen, though. Only I don't think that shows a flaw necessarily in the translation. It's because there are different ways of saying things in different languages. So that I don't know. Does that mean necessarily that it was a bad translation if it comes back differently? I don't know. But let's try it. What was that phrase?
It's more culturally appropriate, actually.
What was that phrase, John? Let's try it. It'll be fun.
The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
And but I won't, how would I know if it's doing it right? Okay, let's translate.
Well, you'll take the Russian and you'll take it back.
And let's translate that into the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Pretty impressive, huh? Anyway, test it out, prove me wrong. I think this might be a much better way to do translation. And, you know, even if we, if we try it out where we take one of our documents, or one of our pages in the hub, our getting started guide or something, throw it through here, translate it to another language, have somebody in that language who speaks that language help us edit it. My guess is, they'll make a couple of tweaks, but that's a lot easier than asking somebody to translate the whole document, you know? So it could be a way of getting it done. As with all things, we would just need somebody to kind of take the lead on that to, actually start translating things, and those would need to be shared as different versions of those pages in the hub, etc. Anyway, I'll leave that for you guys to play with. Maybe we can revisit it next time and see what we can do with it. All right, we already talked about the cost of hosting. I do need to find more affordable ways of hosting our stuff, but right now we've at least cut down the cost by using reserved capacity. I think we'll want to look at alternate options for hosting, but I'm not the one to do that. So we'll see, maybe talk about that with Mazvi next time he's here. Let's see. The rest of these are kind of standing topics that I don't know that we need to go into. So let me just ask at this point, what else we have to talk about? Anybody have anything we haven't gotten into here? I wouldn't mind having a little break before our next meeting anyway, if nobody else has anything.
Oh, we could take a quick look at the Lumio proposal that Kyle just got approved. We don't have to take too much time on that, but
Sure. Let's see, that's the summary there. 19 votes in favor. So this is just the voting. Let's see, I guess this would be the details here. Is that what you wanted to look at? What part do
Yeah.
you want to look at here, Ben? Just the
yeah, just sort of the summary, I guess, at the end. So the next steps, John already mentioned that they're looking at transferring the funds, but yeah, it's the way it's structured out, I think, is really clear. He did a great job of making some iterations along the way. I know he added deliverables based on some feedback from John, and I had some odds and ends feedback for
This is
him.
going to
that
move pretty quickly. He's
he
saying the
responded
clinic can be ready to go in a couple of weeks. He's hoping to get him the funds by the 3rd week in June, which is now or coming up this week. And so, yeah, this could happen very quickly.
which is great. And I think too, it'd be great to find out. So he's going to be going there with Creality. Of course, they're going to be documenting it and wanting to make some blog posts and stuff like that about it. But it'd be awesome to try to keep up with that trip as it's going on. Maybe get some, I don't know, some community involvement.
Well, he will be taking photos and giving a presentation at some future meeting, but yeah, it would be great to, we can maybe encourage them to just post stuff in the hub as they're going. That would be great. Nice. Anyone else have anything? Okay, well, let's wrap up if you don't mind for this week. And Ben and John, did you guys grab that Zoom link for the next meeting?
It's in an email, right?
Yeah, I just don't remember who was included. Let me just put it in the chat for you here real quick. If you want to
That'd
just
be
grab
great.
it in the chat. And that'll be at the top of the hour. Got it?
Got it.
You good, John?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See you guys then, and the rest of you next week.
Okay, thanks, everybody.